I just read the entire Wikipedia article on werewolves. Werewolves. Hopefully we all know a little bit about them. Werewolves are shape-shifting creatures from man to wolf with increased strength, speed, reflexes, senses, agility, the whole thing. It kind of sounds like a steal. Werewolvism, or lycanthropy, is tied to the moon in pretty much every legend. That you can turn into a werewolf by being conceived under a new moon, or by sleeping under a full moon outside on a Friday. Werewolves are said to have control over their form, unless it is a full moon, in which case they are forced to turn. Lycanthropy itself has mostly been viewed as a disease throughout history, and the afflicted were known to go into the woods during the full moon while they returned in order to protect their friends and family. So this brings me to my point. Africa by Toto is about becoming a werewolf. This is ridiculous. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the lyrics, and we're gonna look at my little notes. I'm gonna tell you all about this. First lines. I hear the drums echoing tonight, but she hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. And like we said, werewolves have increased senses, including super hearing. If you think about dogs hearing, same thing, but werewolves, bigger ears, better hearing. She's coming in 12:30 flight. The moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. So like we talked about, the moon is super tied in to werewolf stuff in general. And it doesn't necessarily say that it's a full moon, but the moon being mentioned is kind of enough for me. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. In most folklore, freshly turned werewolves are known to go looking for a cure. So being guided towards salvation, finding forgotten words or ancient melodies, is this person's way of trying to cope, trying to figure out how to get rid of this new thing. He turned to me as if to say, "Hurry boy, it's waiting there for you." In my mind, the it in this line is the forest, and that is the old man's advice to this new werewolf that there isn't really a cure, so protect your family, go into the woods. It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. This goes back to the wolf mentality and the pack loyalty, that there is nothing that can separate a werewolf from its pack. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. This obviously ties into super wolf strength, that 100 men could not do anything to a werewolf. Now, medieval Europeans believed that exorcism was a way to cure lycanthropy, and with exorcism comes holy water. So the iconic line, "I bless the rains down in Africa," is this new werewolf's coping mechanism, wishing that holy water would rain down on him and treat him of this curse. Werewolves are also said, as they're turned on the full moon, as they go out into the woods, to join up with local wolf packs to find other wild dogs, if you will. So the lines, "The wild dogs cry out in the night as they grow restless, longing for some solitary company." That's these wild dogs having gotten used to these new werewolves joining them from time to time. They kind of expect it at this point. "I know that I must do what's right, as sure as Kilimanjaro rises like Olympus above the Serengeti." As sure as this man is about his incorrect geography, he knows he must do what is right, and that is protect his friends and family, because as we all know, werewolves crave human flesh. "I seek to cure what's deep inside, frightened of this thing that I've become." I don't even need to talk about that one. Goes through the chorus a couple more times, it reinforces the idea that this man is a struggling werewolf just looking to get by. I think I've made my point. Thank you for listening to my nonsense. It was like 2 hours of werewolf research, another hour of absolute nonsense because I have no stage presence.